He's parked in front of his house. His driver is sitting next to him. Bruno's smoking a cigarette. The driver pushes the remote control. The windows go down. And then out of the shadows comes this guy in a raincoat, pulls a shotgun out, shoots Bruno in the back of the head.
They were sitting at a rear table when a man walked in from the back door. He fired 3 shots.
His face fell into the spaghetti.
He manages to stagger out on the main street, falls on his face, and is dead.
Leopold Landerhoff, described by police as a figure in the Genovese crime family, found in the trunk of his car at Kennedy Airport yesterday. Pasquale Marcioli, according to local authorities, an associate of Landerhoff's, was found in the trunk of another car on Thursday. Avenue U and East 4th Street, an expensive cigar in a pool of blood marked the spot where America's Scorsese died. Patrick Presenzano shot 4 times, his throat cut. Presenzano was allegedly connected to reputed mob boss Carmine Galenti.
This would have been the spot where authorities found those 2 victims.
And the story is that a lot of mob guys might be worried that bodies are going to be coming out of there, coming out of the graves. Who knows? I don't know. And you can bet your bottom dollar that that was probably a mob hit. But I can tell you this, it definitely was a burial ground for a lot of mob hits, and I've heard that.
The South has been alive with organized crime for longer than any of those Yankee cities that you usually read about. The Mafia would have to fight for its share, from smugglers, gamblers, thieves, and murderers of every ethnic background who populated New Orleans since long before the Italians got there. Immigrants from southern Italy, some of them were made men, and the ancestors of future American gangsters, passed through the port town on their way to the sugar plantations and mills. Following the coastline west, travelers found cattle country, like the interior of Sicily, and settled in ethnic enclaves like Bryan, Texas, outside Houston, where rivers, rails, and roads intersected that made cities. If you drew a line from Houston north and one from Shreveport going west, the lines would meet in Dallas. The Dallas Mafia family was allegedly formed in the early 1920s by Carlos and Joseph Piranio, who had emigrated to America from Corleone in Sicily. They moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, and by 1910 were living on Main Street, Dallas, with their wives, Clemenza Grimaldi and Lena LaRocha. Like so many of their peers during this early part of the 20th century, the brothers were in the grocery business. By 1920, when the population of the city was 160,000, Carlo had moved into real estate, and Joe had opened a retail and wholesale tobacco company at 603 South Harwood Street in downtown. Some of the men lived on or near Dawson Street at one time, which today is a rundown, decrepit neighborhood called Deep Elam. The Piranio brothers' reign over the Dallas Mafia came to an end in 1956, eventually being taken over by Joseph, Egyptian Joe Campisi, in 1973. This is also around the same time bodies were starting to be discovered in Brown Springs, a secluded, desolate marshland right outside the Texas border in Thackerville, Oklahoma. One corpse was found during the 70s, and another in the 80s. Authorities believe these were Mafia-related murders, and the bodies were never supposed to be found. Additionally, a woman's body was found deceased lying on top of her car near the marsh in 1997.
Hey, what is up, you guys? Tonight I am in Thackerville, Oklahoma, at the very haunted Brown Springs Cemetery. This place is reportedly a body dumping ground. Apparently the Dallas Mafia would dump bodies here from the 70s to 90s. And tonight we are here walking up this embankment trail to get to the old cemetery. And we're gonna investigate and see if the claims about this place are really true. You can see it's a very sandy trail up a hill. Quite a hike, I heard. So we just got to the top of this very steep sandy hill, and the cicadas and crickets are absolutely going crazy right now. I apologize. But as you make your way up, there's a barbed wire fence, and very old barbed wire fence. And right here's the first grave. May J. Idle Wilkinson, 1904 to 1924. You can see people left like coins and stuff. I think this is the first grave that most people would come across, like I did. And you can see again, there's this very old barbed wire fence that is all mangled up. If you walk a little bit further down the trail, looks like I just came across some more graves in this kind of like open area here. Wilson. And there's another small stone right next to it. There's another grave over here. And it looks like this is where majority of the graves are buried. Can't even make this one out. I don't even know if that's English. People like carve things into it. Very eerie place. I've never quite been in a cemetery like this. I mean, look at that. This is like something out of a horror movie. It's crazy. Unfortunately though, it looks like the vandals have made their way through here a couple times. See much on this one besides the death of December 26, 1880. And that shows you kind of how far the cemetery goes back. So it's kind of wild to think that people probably were like riding their horses and stuff in horse-drawn carriages to bury their relatives and loved ones. Here's another small grave. And I thought the cemetery would end by now. I've walked pretty far into the woods, but I'm gonna keep walking until it ends. I see another one over here. This cemetery isn't small at all. And with all the overgrowth, there's probably several unmarked graves you can't even see anymore. I don't know if that's the end of the cemetery right there, because you guys can probably see the fence, the old fence. And you can just see how overgrown this cemetery is. Alright guys, so we are heading to the lagoon now, where the Mafia members apparently disposed of their victims back in the 70s to 80s. And then actually, there was a woman from Gainesville, Texas found here in 1997, dead on the top of her car. So this place isn't new to crime, I guess. Back in the day, the mobsters probably came through this pathway, which you can still make out a little bit once you come down here. But you can see the lagoon. You can't really see the water, but I can see the water. It starts like right there, and then the lagoon is right here. And apparently, like FBI or whatever found 2 victims from the 70s to 90s dumped here, related to the Dallas Mafia, and God knows how many others that are probably here that will never be found. It's really sad, but it's honestly just the truth. Yeah, you can see the lagoon starts right there. And this would have been the spot where authorities found those 2 victims a few decades ago. Couple shotgun shells there. So it is a little hidden area. If you really didn't know about it, you really wouldn't ever know about it. It's one of those types of places. But right here you have like a little dirt road roundabout, and directly behind it is the lagoon where the bodies were found. Okay, first of all, excuse me guys, it is literally 105 degrees out here. So hot. But I do have the PSP7 here. We're gonna do a spirit box session, see if we can get any answers about who's buried here, if it's really haunted, and why it's haunted. So let's get into this. Is this abandoned cemetery really haunted? I just heard "I'm sure." It was a little bit after I asked the question, but it's still really creepy. Who haunts this cemetery? I heard about a lot of people that met tragic ends to their lives here in this plot of land. I just heard a laugh. Like it's almost like mocking the victims in a way. How many people died here? Do you like it when people come here?
Take it down.
Did the Dallas Mafia actually dump their victims here? Sure. How many total spirits are here with me in this cemetery? One. I saw there's one. That was like the most clear response we've gotten all night. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was crazy. I actually just can't believe we got that. Holy crap. Alright guys, so we are going to call it a night here. This place is freaking terrifying. It is one of the spots I wanted to hit in Oklahoma. And it really did live up to what I saw on the internet. If you're in the area, I totally recommend that you come check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment of what you thought, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace out.
And what I'm going to do, Philip, I want you to cup your hands, and I'm going to light this piece of tissue paper on fire. And as it's burning in your hands, I want you to juggle it and keep saying, "May I burn like this if I betray my friends." And after that, I was part of the circle. I was a made member.
but I can't believe you. Now you're gonna dig the thing up. You're gonna dig the hole. You're gonna do it. I got no lime. You're gonna do it.
Yes, I'll dig the hole. I don't give a was the first hole I dug? First time I dug a hole, I'll dig a hole. You know, where are the shovels?